Hi, I wonder if any of you have made a tiny sketchbook after you watched my last video about creating a little zine or a tiny sketchbook out of one piece of paper. So if you did, I want to give you a few tips about sketching in these tiny sketchbooks. There are a few really neat things that you can do with these sketchbooks just by changing the orientation of your sketching or thinking a little bit about composition before you begin. So let me share those tips with you now. Okay, so if you watched that video, you know that after you've folded and then cut your piece of paper, you have one big piece of paper. I want you to know that when you sketch on it, you can sketch across this whole bottom and then turn your page and sketch across this side. That way, when you fold your book up, all of your pages have the same orientation. You don't end up with upside down elements. You can work through the book on both sides and everything's in the right orientation. So that's the first thing to know. Another thing to know is that this is a really great time to experiment with cropping your sketches. For instance, instead of having the base of this sea life right here at the bottom of my page, I can sketch right off the side of the page so it feels like it's coming into my scene. Here's another example. I can use the small pages in this sketchbook to crop my sketches so it's a little more interesting than just having a fish or a sketch right in the center of the page. And here's another thing to think about when you're sketching in these little books. Try to sketch so that you cross the fold of your page like this, and like this. Because what you'll get is sketches that are more enticing. You'll want to turn the page to see how the sketch continues. See how this one turns this corner, and then I see the rest of it here. And you can even consider things like that top to bottom on your pages as well. Right off the top of your page and right off the bottom of your book as well. And then I just have one last tip for you. If you're somebody that likes to sketch with watercolor, consider folding your page, painting, and then folding your individual pages. So don't create the whole book at once, because if you do, when you paint, you're going to get bits of pigment that get caught in the folds. Wait until you've done all of your painting. These paintings aren't finished yet. I'm going to add a lot more layers, and then I'll create the final folds of the book so that as I'm painting, I don't get watery pigment caught up in these folds that's going to dry darker. I hope some of you will make a tiny sketchbook because I think they're really fun. I hope that you'll maybe even experiment with making tiny zines, which is when you bring a lot of writing and maybe some messages into your tiny sketchbooks, create them sort of like a book. And I hope that if you make a tiny book, those tips help you out. Okay, have fun, get into your sketchbooks, hopefully. Bye.